All right, welcome back. We'll do a little race recap of the Mount Charleston Marathon now. I'm Jake.
And I'm Lindsay.
Hey.
Jake and Linz here.
So just
I can't wait to hear about your race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know about it, but
I mean, yes, but
yeah,
just
maybe a little more. You might
and
you might hear things that you don't know yet either.
Yeah.
You never know.
Some things popping in your head that you forgot about.
Just kind of leading the week up to it. Monday. Basically the week leading up to it, at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I left on the plane on Friday. I ran every day, 2 to 3 miles each day. I just ran them downhill on the treadmill. They were all fast. I just kind of keep the sword sharp, right? So shorter distances, just quicker miles, just to kind of keep that leg turnover going. Got a few cycling classes in. Monday afternoon, where we teach at this our Ride Cycle Studio in Fargo, where we both teach. One of our friends was her last ride there. She's moving on to other things, so I took part of that. That was pretty fun. Wednesday morning I taught. Thursday morning you taught. I came to your class Thursday morning.
Yep.
Friday I did not work. My plane was supposed to leave at 1 o'clock. Got there really early because
He's early to everything, which I know, not a bad thing, but he's like extra early to everything. I just think it's funny. Because I'm, unfortunately, I'm the opposite of that, but that's how we work. That's how we do things. That's how I am.
That's how we are. That's how we work, exactly. So I got to the airport early. I was actually not the first person there.
Surprise.
But as soon as they started loading the plane, there was like a couple sections that got called, and then they said the plane's going to be delayed because of wind, and then there was air show in Las Vegas. So it was delayed like 2 hours, I think, and they left the people on the plane, which that must have been not that fun. But then they loaded up the plane, and we sat there for another hour and the pilot, you could tell he was not having it, and he didn't even announce it, and all of a sudden we were taking off, and away we went and landed in Vegas. And before we landed, there was about 20 minutes that we circled out there in the desert, but it all worked out. Got there. I flew by myself on Friday, and Lindsay came on Saturday. We'll get into that. But so I got to the airport, or got off the plane, took an Uber over to Olive Garden to meet Brad and this other crew of people that he had that were running as well.
Olive Garden, good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little chicken fettuccine.
Oh yeah. I was just about to ask, what did you eat?
Yeah. And then tons of breadsticks. I was really hungry, so I was eating breadsticks before the food
Carb
got
load,
there.
right? Is that still a thing? Carb loading?
That's still a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a real deal.
Okay.
Tapering, we can kind of throw tapering out the window.
Yeah.
Not a fan of tapering, but carb loading, yes. I did well. We rented a Airbnb, kind of just hung out for a few minutes and then to bed. I couldn't sleep very well. I don't know why. Maybe just a new room or something.
Yeah, probably new room.
Yeah. I really wasn't.
Race on your mind, maybe?
I wasn't nervous about the race, though.
Yeah.
But
when you got to the start, were you nervous, or are you getting into any of that? Okay.
No, never was nervous at all. I also like to get up really early for things. Not only do I like to be on time, I like to get up early. So I think we were planning on leaving at like 3:15, 3:30. I don't even remember what time.
So early. So
I got up at 2:20. I got my little routine I do in the morning. Went to the bathroom once, and then so it was great. Like our Airbnb was like 8-10 minutes away from where the bus is loaded. Got parked, and we kind of sat there for a little bit because Brad, my best friend Brad, who's ran it, this is his third year running it, he kind of knows how it works, and he goes, well, if we get on the buses early, we're going to have to stand up on top of that mountain in the cold for longer. Well, I was dressed for it, luckily. Yeah. I had those little hand warming things that you shake and warm your hands.
Yeah.
Those are great.
I'm sure those
must have. Yes. And
it's also nice going to a race like this when someone else has already ran it before and kind of knows the ins and outs. So it was helpful, I'm sure. Yeah,
that was great. And so then we loaded on the bus. We had a nice bus. It wasn't a yellow school bus. It was just a nice bus, nice seats. Took like
Greyhound or something?
Yeah, like a Greyhound or something.
Bougie.
Chatted pretty much the whole time as we went up there. A lot of people were kind of napping, but got up there.
That would have been me.
Yep, that definitely would have been you, no matter how much coffee you had. Got off the bus, straight to the porta potty, walked right in there, bathroom again, and they had a bunch of heaters set up, which there was already full of people around them, but we kind of huddled in and got a little warmth off that as well. And we got there at 4:45. And the race started at 6. So we were there for an hour and 15 minutes before the race started. There was snow up there, but not a lot. Like the parking lot wasn't it didn't have snow in it, so it didn't. But my feet did get cold. That was my only thing that got cold, was my feet. Everything else, I had a long sleeve t-shirt on, like a sweatshirt, and then a jacket, and then I had a hat, stocking hat. I had big gloves that I brought with, sweatpants, and I ditched the sweatpants and the sweatshirt, and I put my coat back on, and then I had a lighter pair of gloves to bring with to start the race. We got to the start line. We kind of got with the...
You were well prepared.
Very well prepared, yeah. I wouldn't have changed a thing about it. I had a bottle of water with, just to kind of sip on water, and I also had my handheld that I brought with. I actually put Noon in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was going to bring that BPN stuff, but the powder, and I was just like, I'm just going to drop a Noon tablet in.
Easy.
Done.
Easy peasy.
And I brought 2 other Noon tablets with me in my shorts, but I didn't even bother to bring them out. I was just... We'll get into that too. Gun goes
6
off.
6 a.m. Gun goes off.
And everyone's taken off. And
were you in the front of the pack?
We were towards the front because I was surprised, because I think it was a 3:15 pace group is kind of where we started. A 3:10, 3:15. Either way, we were shooting for 3:10. So was Brad. Him and I ran together for the first few miles, but it was very busy. There was a lot of people in that group. So you're always with somebody. Unlike some marathons, if you're running, you could be by yourself for part of it, just because there's not a lot of people running, you know?
Right.
But there was always people around. First quarter mile was downhill, and then there was an uphill, and everyone's running fast. I was running fast, excited, and my heart rate shot through the roof. When
you went on that uphill?
Yes, and because I'm trying to run it fast, and I was just running with Brad, and I think we both kind of, after we started going back downhill, we're like, oh boy, all right, let's back her down and get our heart rates down.
Yeah.
But then the first 4 miles are pretty aggressive downhill, and it was hard to slow down.
Yeah.
You know, and I looked at my watch and I'm like, I'm going a little fast, but I don't, you know.
Yeah, I know, because I was tracking him. They had a great tracking system. I don't know, a website or an app, or I think it was like a website. And I would just keep refreshing, and I was like mile 4, and he's just like Speedy Gonzalez. I'm like, hey, Jake.
Back her down.
Back her down a little bit here. You got 25 more miles, 22 more miles to go.
So mile 2, I took off my jacket, and then I dropped my glove on my right hand, which I didn't care about as much. But so I took off my jacket at mile 2. And then mile 4, I took off my long sleeve t-shirt. The rest was shirtless the way I go. Mile, 4 to the half marathon was kind of, it was just fun. Mm-hmm. It was enjoyable. There's a spot right around mile 5 where you kind of enter this parking lot, and it's a little bit uphill. And as we're getting close to that, I can see ahead, small woman with red hair running in front of me. And I go, is that Ashley from iFit that has won Badwater and done what was that 7 marathon called?
The 7 continents in 7 days, 7 marathons. So you run a marathon for 7 days straight in all 7 continents. The Great World Race. Great World Race is what it's called.
There you go. Great World Race. So, and I got close and I caught up to her, and she was running with her daughter's boyfriend, I think
that's
right?
What you said.
Yeah. Anyhow, trying to get him to 3 hours, and they did. They got him to 3 hours, so that was cool. But I ran with her, and I was like, and I chatted with her. We ran for a while. I talked about Lindsay most of the time, just because Lindsay's a big fan. But so that was cool, and I just kind of did my own thing. I don't run with music, so it was kind of interesting. The first half marathon, like I said, it was just kind of downhill. There was a couple uphills that were not super steep,
like a mild, uphill,
very mild, and it felt good to go up them.
Yeah,
because you're not going down and busting up your quads. I didn't go up them fast though, but it felt good to go up them, if that makes sense. Every aid station, there's probably every 3 miles, there's aid stations. I'd grab water, and even though I had my handheld, I'd grab water. I took 4 BPN Go Gels. I think the first one I had mile 3. And then kind of every 45 minutes or so, I would take another one. Mm-hmm. And that was awesome. Never had any stomach issues the entire time. I did 2 times, because my water bottle was empty, my handheld. I stopped and filled those up at the aid stations. Went really quick. Mm-hmm. One of them, the lady, she's just like, all right, fill it up. Yeah. And she took all these cups and filled it up. And I was like, oh, no, I can just go over here to the big jug and fill it up, but leave the cups for other people. But anyhow, so the second place I just went and filled it up myself. And then let's see. So
it's so nice to feel good nutrition wise when you're running, and you just some runs you feel great, and some runs you get a stomach ache or you feel nauseous, but you seem like you did it well and it worked for you, and you did it prior to the race, so you didn't just do it on race day shoving gels in your mouth, but you know, you gotta make sure your body can handle it. So that's good.
So I was watching my watch as I was going, and I started out because that first mile was kind of slow because of that uphill. So as I was going, my average pace was working its way down, and I was kind of watching that more than my current pace. But at my current pace, I was probably running 640s, 650s, and I brought my average down to like 651 at the halfway point. So I was like, at the official half marathon point, it was on my watch, it said like 13.22 or something like that, I think is where I was at. All right, check it in. We are halfway there. Just about 131. Feeling pretty good. Not even looking at my watch. Just kind of let my legs go. We'll see if I pay for that later. But banking some time at least. Beautiful course. Halfway. And I was like 1 hour, 31 minutes and a few seconds or something. And I was like, I feel absolutely amazing right now. And my goal is to equal split this. Like, let's see if we can get very low 3 hour. I know the last few miles are kind of flat or a little uphill, but I was like, we'll just see what happens there. If not, I got a lot of time banked, and my 3 hour 3:10 goal is very feasible at this point. Halfway at the half marathon until about mile 21, 22, it's a very gentle down, which I loved that part of it. And it was very long and
it's really nice
and boring. I should back it up a little bit because the scenery from the start to the halfway point is breathtaking. I mean, you're just surrounded by mountains, and I caught myself kind of wandering a little bit and then kind of losing focus of what was going on. But it was a very beautiful course. Like that, 100% worth running it just for that. From halfway to that mile 21, 22, gentle downhill, felt good, except for as soon as we kind of got out of the mountains and it was turning into the city of town, you'd start seeing houses and things like that. Crosswind from the north, pretty good crosswind. Like the flags were straight out, and it wasn't bad. I was still able to keep my pace, but it was kind of interesting since I don't run with headphones. I'd hear people, you know, if you run a marathon or run a race and you hear those people kind of grunting and groaning as they're running, you know, it's just like they're hurting, you know. And I never grunted or groaned during that race. So I never hurt as bad as some of the people out there. And then the closer you got to that turn to mile 21, 22, you started catching people in the half marathon, and then you started catching people in the marathon that went out too hard and they're walking or cramping or things like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going my way. I didn't know exactly where the course went. I knew it turned eventually at this 21, 22 mark, and I was just praying that it did not turn north and turn into a headwind because that would have been miserable. On the other hand, it turned south, so we had a tailwind, and it got hot and flat. And the flat wasn't as bad as the heat, and I got hot, really hot. And I remember the aid stations, I would just put water on my head. I still had water in my hand.
What was the temperature?
I don't know. It was probably only
like
in
60s?
the 60s. Yeah.
But just your effort
and the sun. Because at the finish line, everyone was sweatshirts and they were bundled up at the finish line. Probably 10, 15 minutes after I finished, I cooled off, and I was like, I got to find my bag and get my pants and shirt back on because I'm cold. But the final 4 miles, I'm doing math in my head. Okay, I can do 8-minute mile or whatever, and I'll still be a PR and still be a 3:0 something.
Time frame of what you're
on my watch at mile 25, it was 2 hours and 57 minutes. So in my mind, I had 13 minutes to hit this 3:10 goal with a mile to go. And the way I was running, I was probably in that 7:15 ballpark probably. But the nice part about that finish, the last like half a mile is pretty downhill again, and tons of people spectating, and it was just like, all right, the energy,
just like this is almost done.
And like it was so cool because when my watch is on and I'm running, I can't, if I get a text message, I can't read it, but I can see like Lindsay's name would pop up or my mom or somebody like that. And it would just be like, okay, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm sure it's something positive and good. So it would just kind of like put a little smile on my face and, all right, just keep smiling, Jake. You got this thing. And I remember where you do that final left turn, you can see the finish line. It's not that far away. It might be like a block or two away is all. Then you have to do another little turn. Then it's like 200 yards to the finish line. I remember rounding that corner and the finish line was right in front of me. And I'm just like, I was so excited. It was just like, I've been trying to do this Boston thing for like 10 years. And finally, I'm like, okay, I didn't know exactly what my time was. Half marathon started at the same time. So I don't know which clock I was actually on. And I forgot to look at my watch.
I'm sure you just crossed the finish line and you're like, I'll figure that out later.
And I started like,
I know I did well.
Yeah. And I started like getting emotional as I was crossing too. So I'm like hyperventilating because I'm almost crying. I don't know what was going on, but no one came to my rescue at the end there. But it was great. As soon as I finished, I caught my breath kind of. I FaceTimed Lindsay and she was running on the treadmill.
I was tracking him. I'm like, okay, I'm going to run and I'm going to run on the treadmill and cross the finish line with him while he's crossing his finish line. And I'm going to just like cheer him on along the way. North Dakota.
And then,
and then he FaceTimed me and
then I didn't know my time. So we were chatting and then I don't know how that came up. I don't remember exactly.
I was like, you got like 3:03. You're like, no way.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And then 3:03:59 was my official time. So 11 minutes under. So that'll get me to the race, I think. It better.
Yeah, right.
So that was super exciting. And then a couple of the other people that came with him, they ran the half marathon. And then we went and grabbed a bite to eat and just hung out at this Airbnb for a while. Lynn's got into town at like, what was it, 3?
Yeah. Well, 3:30. Picked me up from the airport and gave him a big hug and kiss. Said, so proud of you.
Then we went to the strip.
And hit up the strip and it was busy as can be. At that point, Jake was walking pretty well and, just kind of, and Brad was too. And then I think as the night was going on, you're like, okay, getting a little sore, nothing crazy. I probably would have been so sore, but
I think it was still like hard to explain, right? Not the soreness had not set in yet because I was moving around good and I was very surprised how well I was moving around, walking around the strip. Maybe tired for sure because I didn't take a nap at all that afternoon. A few of the other people in the house took a nap, a couple hours. I didn't nap at all, and then
you're not a napper.
Nope. But and then grabbed the bite to eat at another restaurant kind of off the strip near the Airbnb.
That was good.
Yeah, it was. Food. We had pizza.
Went back and
Brad and everybody else that was staying there, they had flights early on Sunday morning.
Yeah, very early. So
Brad was leaving at like 5 o'clock and I thought I heard him. So I got up at like 5:15 is when I woke up because I was going to just say goodbye one more time before he left. And he was already gone. So I'm like, well, I'm up. I'm going to make some coffee and just kind of sit here for a while. Lynn slept in for a little bit, but
I think yeah.
And we didn't have
slept in a little. We had nothing going on.
Yeah.
So.
And then we got a little shakeout run walk in.
Yes.
A little 4 mile.
You're like, I got to walk for a little bit. Okay, it's fine.
And I think, most of it was, though, I had a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
It was like I was so short of breath.
Yeah.
My legs, I started loosening up a little bit. Right away, I had the wobble.
Hard. I mean, you put a lot of effort and heart and soul into that run.
Hey. What day is it?
Oh, oops.
Did you pause your watch?
Yeah.
It is Sunday. Pretty much
Sunday, post-race shakeout walk run.
Shakeout walk run. 24 hours after the marathon. A little stiff this morning, but as we get going here, my legs are feeling a little better. I can actually run, 10-minute pace?
Yeah, 10-minute pace.
Ran a little uphill.
Well, I would have been in a wheelchair after that if I did what you did, so.
The plan for the day. We are staying at Caesar's Palace. Hopefully we can get in there a little early and get to the pool. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees and no wind. Just kind of sit by the pool and relax all day. Watch the sun bake. Hopefully we're a mile into this little run walk thing. Get a few miles in. and then get ready to get out of that Verbo.
Yep.
To the hotel, get some good food in our tummies.
Yep.
All right.
Just R&R today and food.
Yep. All right, let's keep running.
All right. See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice little shakeout, mountains in the background. I've never really been off. I've been to Vegas twice, but it's always just been on the Strip. So it's kind of nice to just kind of get off of that area and see other parts. Dry desert, kind of reminds me of Arizona.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of vibe. But
Palm trees, that was nice.
So yeah, and then we basically packed up and Ubered our way back to the Strip.
Hold on, one more thing before.
Oh.
So before we decided to leave this Airbnb, Brad had bought a dozen eggs. Did anybody eat any of the eggs?
No eggs. I didn't eat any of the eggs. And
So,
we know how expensive eggs are right now.
Were they farm eggs too, weren't they? They were brown.
They were like cage-free, organic maybe.
Probably $10 a dozen.
They were the brown eggs, so y'all know the brown eggs are a little more expensive.
So Lindsay decides that she's going to hard boil the eggs and bring them with us. So she did. That's great. That's a good little snack.
Yeah.
We had a room at Caesar's Palace, and we took an Uber to Caesar's Palace, and they allowed us to check our bags with like the bellhop. And then we went to the only place I wanted to go the entire time, Tacos El Gordo.
So good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did
He's
not
been
disappoint.
talking it up for months and months since I
Years.
met you.
Yeah.
And it did not disappoint. It was delicious Mexican food.
So and that restaurant's on the Strip, the one we went to, and it's like a mile from the Caesar's Palace, and we walked back because we took a taxi over there, and then we walked back. And the walk back, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
We were passing people.
Yeah. People watching, passing people.
Yeah. But it was just good. And then we were able to do an early check-in to the hotel and got up to the room, swimsuits on, down to the pool, and just kind of relaxed for a few hours. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
and then back to my egg story.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to get back to the eggs.
So I was like, oh, great, there's a fridge. So I'm just going to stick my eggs in here. It's going to be great. And I open it, and it's all stocked. So basically, they charge you
mini bar.
Yeah, it's all stocked. So mini bar, there's pop and alcohol and all the things. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to squeeze these eggs in between like all these drinks. And a couple of them kind of moved a little bit. And I guess that's like triggers, it just automatically charges your card. So it knows like if you lift it up, automatic charge. I didn't think that I moved it enough to charge anything. So I just had like all these eggs like randomly stuck in the fridge everywhere. And then I didn't even eat them. I ate one. 0. You ate one. I ate one. So 2 of the 12 eggs were eaten. Then when we were packing up to leave, I was like, oh crap, my eggs. So I went in there and I grabbed them out, and then I went to check out, and it said I had all these charges for all these things I didn't drink. I was like, just from those dang eggs that I was trying to shove in all these little spots.
And you know
they reversed the charges. But
and the other thing with that though is, you know how hard-boiled eggs smell.
Yeah.
That you open that fridge and it just stunk.
I just like picture the housekeeping walking in there being like, who are these people? Why
They're probably
they have a dozen eggs in here. Oh my
But there was no room for anything. That was dumb.
I know.
Yeah. Pool was great, very relaxing. So Caesar's yeah, it was like the sun.
Perfect.
It was great. Yeah. Never been to really Caesar's Palace before, but I want to bring that smell home with me. I'm obsessed with that smell. Right now. Not the cigarette smoke smell, but like you get away from it. We went to check out the gym.
Oh, the gym was
man.
Peloton bikes and super nice equipment.
Yeah.
Like weightlifting equipment.
I've never even seen that brand before, but it was like super
very high end,
smooth,
so nice.
And
I would have loved to use it if we stayed another day. I would have jumped on the Peloton bike, but that's okay.
I would have loved. We
just kind of walked around, and then the smell that they have in the spa area is what he was obsessed over. So, but they didn't sell the scent. So now he's on a journey of trying to find the scent or something like it.
Yeah. So then after the pool, went up to the room, got cleaned up, and then we're like, where should we eat? The Caesar's Palace buffet.
Enough said about that. I mean, truly. Like
10 out of 10.
Delicious.
Unbelievable food. And we went up there multiple times, and I don't know how many times we're eating and said, or yum, or whatever. So good.
So good.
Everything
worth
was
every
so
penny.
good. Yeah, it's not cheap,
No,
but
you get like quality good food. So it was worth it. But
and it's just pretty beautiful food
it
too,
is.
right? You eat with your eyes first and everything.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't taste that great, which there wasn't anything that really didn't taste good, but
Yeah.
everything just looked amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was
So
a couple desserts I wasn't a huge fan of, just because I'm not a big chocolate
fan. And they're just
fan,
like little portions too, so we didn't feel like,
Yeah.
you know, his whole plate of desserts just like was like these little portions of desserts. The whole plate was full. It was fun.
Love dessert.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, did a little gambling, $20 here and there. We're not big gamblers, but it was fun just to do that for a little bit.
It was, yeah. It just kind of as noisy and busy as like the casino is and the sounds or whatever, but relaxing. I don't know, it felt relaxing.
Yeah. And by then, it's like time flies when you're playing blackjack and slots or whatever. And it was like what, 10 maybe?
Yeah, it was probably 10 o'clock. So 12 midnight our time.
Right, and we had to be up at, I don't know, we had to be up early too. So we called it a night. I went back to our room and
got a good night's sleep, and then did Uber to the airport. Flight was great. It was on time.
Yep.
Smooth flight. Lindsay slept most of it, and then
back to reality. Yeah, show your medal.
Oh, here's the medal for it. Pretty nice, pretty cool medal.
Yeah, I think this is super cool.
Yeah. And
so add it to your collection, right?
Yeah, add it to the collection. This is marathon number 17. Official, just regular old marathon.
Yeah.
Not counting Ironmans or ultras or anything.
Yeah.
You can't really see it on here. There's a little turtle, which that's kind of the logo or the symbol of this race, because there's like endangered turtles out there. And there was a thing that said if you see them, don't touch them or interact with them. So I never did see one. I was kind of wanting to see one, but that rate.
You didn't see any snakes along the way on your run, because then you would have run faster.
There was a rope on the side of the road. I ran and I caught it out the corner of my eye and jumped and just kind of laughed at myself. I was like, come on, Jake. But there was a couple spots, I forgot to mention too, like where there would be a turn going. There would be kind of like a bank on the road. And it wasn't long enough to really mess with you. But I remember when we ran that Detroit Lakes one and we were kind of running on this slanted road, that brought back flashbacks in my mind of being kind of uneven like that and how my calf.
And how I damaged my leg pretty bad after that.
But there was just a couple spots where it was like that, and it did nothing, but I thought about that, and I was like, God, I hope this doesn't turn into more of this, but I would do that race again.
Yeah, that injury was worth it. The one time I won a race in my female division.
Yeah, Lindsay won a race. Actually crushed it too, though.
Oh, it's fun.
This
isn't about me. It's about you, but.
But yeah, and Vegas trip was great. Good to get away, back to reality. What day is it today? Thursday. So it's been a few days since we've been back and just been kind of hectic back here, but wanted to kind of get this out before the memories are too far gone. But
great run, great race. You crushed it, and now
we got to get.
And I would love to qualify for Boston as well. So more to come on that. Which run I would want to try to qualify for? I know there's a bunch from now till, is it September is the cutoff?
September, mid-September, yeah.
So, but I gotta work hard and train hard. I know I can do it.
I think what we need.
We
need to get you those Vaporfly 6s. I am not lying. Over half the people had those Vaporfly shoes there. I couldn't believe how many people had them. Fly, or what's the higher one too? I mean, God, there's so many of them.
I've never even tried them on, so.
Yeah, I think judging by the amount of people that have them, it might be worth an investment, like a super shoe type thing, with the carbon plate. I have one old pair of the Nike Next Percents, and they're worn out now. They weren't that comfortable to run in for a full marathon, but I feel like they did help. I think it was the benefit. The juice was worth the squeeze, for the little bit of discomfort you had with them, that it was probably worth going a little bit faster. All right.
Yeah, so we'll continue to post about summer runs, and now we're kind of
got that one in the books. Fargo Marathon. We got to get Lindsay qualified, and then big summer of Matahe training yet too. So
I don't know if I have enough time to try to qualify in Fargo for Boston,
but it's worth a try.
Always worth a try. I'm 1000% all about trying. We talk about trying all the time, and like, what's the worst that can happen? You fail and you try again. So it might be too soon, but you never know. Otherwise, I think if I get a couple, 2 to 3 months under my belt of some good training, I can definitely get a 3:25.
3:25 will probably get you there because they drop.
Because I know we kind of have to be under that like threshold a little bit to make sure I get in. But
and so Brad, my buddy, he finished. He needed 3:15 as well, and he was like 3:13, and I think maybe just a few seconds. I feel like so just maybe not quite under 2 minutes under. Which last year you had to be 7 minutes or something under, but they took 5 minutes off. So
running is fun.
Running
is challenging, and it's not only physically tough but mentally. And I think that that's what's so great about running and why we love it so much. Yeah.
All right, let's call it good.
Good job, Jake. Proud of you.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
All right.
That's
Till
a wrap.
next time.